And we are live, folks. Welcome to the Sit Down Standard Podcast, the podcast celebrating all the amazing things you can do while sitting, whether it's enjoying movies, watching television, or playing games. I am one of your humble hosts, David Bray. I'm joined as always by Gerald Bales.
Hello.
And Jordan Peterson.
That's a Mr. Jordan Peterson to you.
We were joking just a couple seconds ago how long you're going to keep that thing on your head.
Oh, we'll find out. It's already getting kind of hot in here.
It's kind of hot in these stormtroopers. All right. So again, our show, we wanted, before we start with anything, you can obviously tell our episode is going to be Star Wars original trilogy inspired.
Yeah, leading up to Force Awakens, of course, in a few weeks.
No one can hear him.
No.
Force Awakens in a few weeks.
But before we start, I want to give some props to our sponsor. That's 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten. They're a nonprofit charity encouraging parents to read 1,000 books to their newborn, toddler, or infant before they reach kindergarten. Helps with child literacy, promotes child bonding with their parents. It's always a great thing to read books. And I always ask Gerald, is it difficult to read 1,000 books before your kid gets to kindergarten?
No, it is not difficult.
Tisk, Gerald.
Jordan, how easy is it to read 1,000 books before your kid gets to kindergarten?
Very easy. We'll keep it theme-centric here.
Yep.
The 6 Star Wars books, read them all 168 times. Or 68, yeah.
68
give or
times.
take.
The novelizations of the first 6 movies. 7th one's coming out. You said it comes out on the day the movie comes out?
Yeah, I think it drops the day of.
All right, so definitely check out all their great stuff. 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten. You can go to their website at 1000booksbeforekindergarten.org and check out all their reading logs. They have, again, they have all of the state by state, all of the libraries participating in the program. Definitely want to give some shout out to them. So 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten. Now, another little, I guess we could call it housekeeping that we want to talk about is we have a giveaway that we're going to be doing. And I wanted to give some details about it. First things first, giveaways are awesome, right?
It's free stuff.
And we can't win.
That's the not awesome part.
Wait, we can't?
No, we cannot win.
Can my wife win?
No one, none of your family. We already talked about this.
What about like a distant cousin?
I thought you were kidding.
Okay, we could do like third cousin. So you can get your third cousin to watch the show. And so, okay, I wanted to give some.
Third cousin.
I want to give some. It's very simple to win the contest, and we'll talk about later in the show because remember we got to feed the baby birds. tease.
Don't
Like
call our
out of our
listeners baby
mouths?
birds.
No. So, I took that way too literal. All right.
You gonna baby bird it?
No.
All right.
No. There's 3 steps to winning to participating and potentially winning in the contest. First step is you donate toys, games, or books to any of the awesome charities out there right now. Toys for Tots, Salvation Army, Goodwill, whatever you can, okay? And then all you need to do is snap a quick photo of you doing so, and then hashtag, it's going to be hashtag SDS, sit down standard, right? SDS giveaway. So SDS giveaway. I'll put something somewhere on the screen right now. This is the future.
It's right here.
Yeah, right there.
Can you do something cool where like it underlines?
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll try to.
Like
I'm not that. Okay, so second step, snap a photo, hashtag sit down or SDS giveaway, or you can simply just tag us. So at Sit Down Standard, you can do this on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and that'll put you into the contest. And then we're going to be talking each week. We're going to add some more stuff to the contest, and we'll do multiple draws for multiple.
Are we
bids.
pulling a winner every week or just at the end?
No, January 4th is when we're going to announce all of the winners. So it'll be our January 4th episode. We'll do it, and then we'll work on
How many winners are there?
There's going to be, we're going to have one prize today, and then we're going to add a prize every week till then. So I think it's
like
4 weeks.
4, okay.
4 or 5 weeks, okay? Now, I want to say before we're going to put together some stuff. Now, again, we're a free podcast, so our stuff is very cool. Actually, we spent quite a bit of money on this stuff. But the thing I want to say is if there's anybody out there that wants to help participate in the giveaway and wants to give something away, we'd be more than happy to give your free stuff away for you, and we'll, of course, give you a plug on the show and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so donate to us before you donate to Tots.
Yeah. Okay, and then of course the third step is to rejoice in your awesomeness for giving cool stuff away and potentially winning on January 4th. So 3 steps. Man, I'm so bad at
We're
this.
helping kids with reading. Now we're helping kids with toys. Man, we're just giving stuff away all
I
the
know.
time.
We're awesome. Okay, so give away something.
Pat on the back, dude. Good
Donate to Toys for Tots or any of the great charities out there. 2, snap a photo, and then 3, rejoice in your awesomeness. Those are the 3 easy steps. Got it? Okay, cool. We'll talk about what we're gonna one of the cool giveaways that we're gonna do at the end of the episode. Okay. Sorry to interrupt, guys. This is David from the future. The guys forgot to tell you there's a couple limitations with the giveaway this year. Unfortunately, we will only be able to have residents of the continental United States to participate in the giveaway. So sorry, Alaska. Sorry, Hawaii. We still love you, but unfortunately, we're a free podcast, and it costs a lot, unfortunately, to ship to you guys. So we won't be shipping out anywhere other than the continental U.S. And we obviously encourage everyone to give away as many things to charities as you can. Again, games, toys, books, but only one entry per person. So you can, of course, donate more. We always encourage that, but it's going to be one entry per person. Now back to you guys. So now let's move into what is the... Oh, before I got to do something. How was your guys' Thanksgivings? Gerald,
It's
how was
really
your
good.
Thanksgiving?
The table turkey turned out great.
Yeah, I put a photo up on Instagram.
you did?
It looked like you painted that thing. It looked
Oh
so
no,
good.
that was roasted.
Yeah, it did look nicely bronzed.
Yeah, it was
nice.
It was wonderful. Everyone loved it. It was delicious.
You're not sick, so that's a good thing.
Well, I am a little under the weather, but not from the turkey. I think I'm just, a lot of family in town. Who knows? I won't touch your eyes, Jordan.
Your open wound.
wound eyes. But yeah, it was really, really good.
Jordan, how was your Thanksgiving?
Yeah, status quo. It was pretty good.
You did? Was it as terrible as you?
Oh, wait, they're not terrible. I did enjoy hanging out with the wife's family. It's not bad. Watched some football. There were some terrible games on. I don't know if you guys watched
That Green Bay game, am I right, David?
I know. It's rough. It's rough.
The
And
Detroit
Aaron-
game was horrible to watch.
Yeah,
the
it was
Eagles
all
did
bad.
horrible. The halftime show. Did you guys watch Big Sean on the halftime show?
No. He's not as big as you think.
it
He's
was-
small Sean.
It was hard.
All
to handle.
right.
I said I sent a Twitters.
You tweeted.
I
Sent a
twittered out. I said I think they told him to keep it low key because they thought the Lions would be losing by halftime.
That's kind of the thing every year, right? They play every...
Yeah, they
Yeah, it's
like
usually the same
20
couple teams
something.
that play.
Yeah.
I think it's the Lions, Cowboys, and Packers. Usually some combination there.
Gotcha.
But no, Thanksgiving was delicious. It was fun. Had a good time.
Yeah, I had an excellent Thanksgiving. We played a bunch of games. We played a bunch of the games that we talked about on the last episode. So we played Codenames, which was a huge hit, just like when we played it. And then we also played a couple other games. One game was Boulder Dash. I don't know if you guys have ever played that. I won. Woo woo.
That always makes everything
I'm a
better.
professional liar, so I figured that would be
Easy.
I'd be good at it.
Well,
No,
those years of law school really...
Yeah,
really
exactly. But it was excellent. Excellent time, and the food was always fantastic. And then, of course, I went into a turkey coma when I got home. But we played games pretty late, which was awesome. So
helped. Nice.
excellent. Anything on Black Friday? You said you went to try to go buy something at Target, right?
Yeah, so I figured it out so I could get an Xbox One for like $85 by the time everything was said and done because they had the $2.99 sale, $60 gift card from Target. Then my wife's got like some 5% discount she uses for her Target card, and then they gave you a 20% discount for the next week, which we go to Target every Saturday.
Right.
So that's like $20 guaranteed because we at least spend $100.
Awesome.
So I was like that, and then the money I'm going to win from you guys in a couple weeks.
Oh, yeah.
All that I would have got it for $85, but they were sold out because
Ah.
I'm too lazy to get up at midnight and go do it.
Yeah, I didn't do any shopping today. Well, today's Black Friday, but I didn't go anywhere. I just stayed home. I can't deal with the crowds. You said you were. It was.
I was
nuts.
it was empty. Target was empty at 6 a.m. It was like completely empty. I was like, I should just do all my shopping. There's nobody here. I guess
Wow.
everyone that is excited to go out did it at midnight, and then everybody who doesn't care is like, I'm not going in 6 a.m.
That's
it's
a
gonna
good
be
point.
Crazy.
My wife
it
and I
was
went
completely empty.
Sorry, my wife and I went to my grandpa's house, and he lives by the Best Buy, so we always like to stop by and see all the crazy people there. By around 8 o'clock, because I think they opened up at 6, right? Yesterday. It was still a madhouse, people going in and out, in and out. It was really busy, but no lines.
But you guys didn't pick up anything, right? No deals. I'll wait for Cyber
No.
Monday. I think I'm going to pick up some.
I was
video
about to
games.
go to the mall, but then I remember we're supposed to do this. So,
I went to
had my
Town Square
wife-
today, and
You
it
are
was
committed.
crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So now we'll move into the next segment of every show that we start every show with, and you guys were going to sing it, right?
Nope.
No.
Oh, come on. All
singing.
right,
Didn't
well, then
say
I guess
that.
I'll do it. What you doing? What you doing? What you doing? There you go. See? You
Hey,
helped out.
I just wanted to help add to it for you.
All right, since you're such an awesome drummer,
All right.
Jordan, we'll start with you. What you doing?
I did find my Warcraft 2 executable. Yeah.
Right
so-
away.
I've been
so-
waiting, like, did you find it? Did you find it?
I did find it, and I played it. It's just such an awesome game. I love that game. It's so much fun.
Did
Like,
you
the
just rock the
missions-
campaign, or you just do like
Yeah.
a custom map?
No, I just rocked the campaign.
Orcs are humans.
Humans.
Right away,
I like
so-
the archers
Yes, my
over
lord.
the berserker axe throwers.
But see, the thing I remember, like the first two missions are like build a farm. And you're like, okay, all right, you can step it up a little bit quicker.
Yeah,
there.
but it goes pretty quick. By like mission 4 or 5, you're like into it. Pretty, you've got boats and you got to take transporters
I'm on
and
a
get your
boat.
guys over. It was.
Yeah.
I'm actually in the middle of one. Having kids, you got to do everything in bite-sized pieces. Like I used to play a mission until it was complete. Now I play a mission and I'm like, all right, I guess I'll pause it, save it, and come back later.
That's awesome.
Made it to minute 3 of this mission. Yes.
Takes me like 6 sittings to get through a movie. I can't do anything.
Now, you talked about this earlier with a lot of video games that you play. You like to get leveled up really, really high and then just slaughter. Now,
Yeah.
when you play Warcraft, do you get this gigantic army, like to the point where you can't create any more
The
units?
Death Ball.
There is no point in Warcraft 2 where you cannot get any more units. You can crash the game as long as there's resources. You
can keep going
because there's unlimited farms. So like literally, you can just make it as much as you want. I usually do that. Is how I play Warcraft. I love to play that way.
Yeah.
But knowing that my time's limited now, I'm not doing that. I'm just trying to beat the mission as efficiently as possible. So yeah, it's
the kids have made you a better general.
But I know best general gets his army and smashes. The less losses, the better. But yeah, play it a different style. It's actually fun to do it that way, trying to get through it quickly.
Yeah,
you have to kind of be more strategic and not just load up. And
now, do you set hotkeys? Are you that good?
No,
you're not that good.
No. But I don't use the cheats.
Nice. What was it like? Fog of War gets rid of all of the.
Yeah, Fog of War.
I know the StarCraft ones. I don't remember the Warcraft.
There's like a gold one. I don't remember.
Anyways,
yeah, but you know.
But you're still.
Why do you need to remember anything? Google.
Yeah, I know.
Just Google it.
Yeah. All right, so that's what you're doing.
That, and then I fixed a bunch of bugs in Zombie Ball. Yeah.
A lot of people were. Did you saw the outtakes video, right? We were playing Zombie Ball.
Yeah.
See, we had a ton of fun just playing it.
It is really fun. I made it, though, so you actually do run when you have or don't have the ball.
Oh, you got the new version, right? That has all the other sprites?
Yeah, I downloaded the newest one so I can
for
add
Game
the
Maker,
pieces that I needed. And so I fixed, I made it so that when the ball is missed, it bounces off the wall and falls back into play. So
nice.
So you don't have to keep restarting it.
Be on Steam soon enough.
I did find that I can like make it so that you bounce off these walls. I'm gonna make like a gap so that if you get to the right place and bounce off the walls, it'll bounce you out of the game and you can do other cool stuff.
Nice.
I was like, make little fun, tricks. I love those kind of hidden things in games.
Yeah.
I loved it in like Mario RPG where if you went to the right path, you could walk directly through a wall and find a secret passage. So I'm gonna try and add that stuff to the game.
Oh, that's cool. You can add little like hidden.
Yeah, a little hidden gem.
You should do Easter eggs.
You'll just pop back in, super powered, like supersonic, all yellow, and like just gold. Yeah, something fun.
That's awesome.
If you know how to do it, you can do it. But Gerald, what have you been doing?
Actually, right before this podcast, I saw The Good Dinosaur.
The new Pixar movie.
Yeah, that came out this weekend. It's really good. I liked it better than Inside Out. I think critics are more leaning on the Inside Out, but I really liked it. Has a good message to it.
All the Pixar.
What about
comparing
it to Land Before Time, though?
Well, I'm just comparing it to like.
I know, but is it better than Land Before Time?
It's been a long time since I've seen Land Before Time, but it's a different movie.
Oh, no.
Don't hold your breath.
Land Before Time's awesome.
Yeah, Land Before. Well, they ended up making like 80 of them.
Well, yeah, there are. That's how I learned Roman numerals.
Oh my
God. Before
Land Before Time V. Oh,
that's hilarious. All right, so what's the synopsis, real quick? 'Cause some people might not. You're so good at like giving a synopsis. It's like 3 words. Dinosaur.
Good.
Yeah, young runt dinosaur out on an adventure trying to find his home. I don't want to spoil anything, but man, these Pixar movies, you got to be prepared for the first 10 minutes of these movies, man. They are tearjerkers.
Oh, always.
They always get you.
I'm guessing a mom or dad dies, or both.
Well, yeah, of course. He's not going to ruin anything, but yeah, rest assured, someone dies that is a vital, and you just enough time to like make a connection with the character, and then they axe him right off.
This is the first Pixar movie since Up or Wall-E where like the visuals, I'm like, holy crap, this looks real, like photorealistic scenery and all this kind of stuff. And then you have the cartoony looking dinosaurs, but man, I don't know how long it takes to render these things, but man, it looked really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I recommend everyone go see it. It's good to take the kids too. It's a good feel-good movie.
They've got a lot of good Christmas movies or holiday movie coming. Like, go see the movies. Like, you got the Peanuts movie, you got Good Dinosaur, you got, what else is out there?
The Night Before.
Not so much a family flick, but yeah, I don't know. I always like all we always usually go see a movie during the holidays. I'll probably go see the Peanuts. I've heard good things about that. Yeah. Oh, speaking of movies, did you like the movie Creed? The Apollo Creed.
I heard it's really, really good.
Everyone's like, it's amazing. Like when you see the trailer, you're like, oh, really? They're gonna trudge out Rocky movie again? But it's and they said it's like the best fight scene in a ever filmed in a movie.
Yeah, one of the best boxing movies of all time.
That's great, awesome. I love when movies are. It's like this podcast. You expect it to be terrible, but ends up being all right.
Glimmer of hope in the podcast sea. I did watch a Thanksgiving movie.
What'd you watch?
Thanksgiving. I wanted to watch Thanksgiving.
Come on.
Did you watch it?
No, we did not. We have the
tradition.
We have the goddaughter over, so it's not really a movie you put on. So.
Yeah, you can't put it
on.
No,
the one it was called like. I wish I could. It was a Jim Henson Thanksgiving movie about turkeys.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was like some like Muppet monsters in it.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was called like The Hoodins, or it sounded more like a Dr. Seuss title than it sounded like a Jim Henson, but it was actually kind of. It had Ludacris in it. Like
What?
Ludacris was the narrator, and he would just come out and be like,
Luda.
and then the family on a search and an adventure, and then he'd like play a drum set or something. It was
That's weird.
really, really weird. I was
That's
like, I
interesting.
looked at my wife. I'm like, why is Ludacris in this movie? Like, I don't get it at all. He was not like Ludacris. It was, what's his regular name? Chris something.
Yeah, he's in the Fast and Furious movies, so he's picked up his acting career. Good for him. He's awesome. I love his music. So.
It was a decent movie. It was corny. It was really corny,
Of course,
but it was a Thanksgiving movie.
Yeah, nonetheless. Cool.
Other than that, I checked out that new Amazon show, The Man on High Castle, that I talked about way back in the TV episode.
And the View It, Cue It, or Screw It.
Yeah.
Episode 5. Go check it out.
Yeah, man, that show is good. It's pretty much about if we lost the war, World War II. So Japan has all the West Coast, a little bit more inland, and then the Nazis took over the East Coast and that whole area, and then there's like a neutral territory in the middle. And there's a secret, the resistance obviously is going on, and then there's a secret tape being passed around that shows life as it is now, of us winning the war. So I don't know how it plays out. We're like on episode 5 or something. I'm not sure how it plays out with, is it just like an alternate timeline, or how does this work? But it's really good, so I recommend checking it out.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Amazon
right?
Prime, yes.
Which everyone has. We talked about this.
I like the idea
Actually,
that if they won that war, that Japan and Germany would just shaking hands and be like, "Oh yeah, we're good."
Yeah,
Well, there's a
Exactly.
secret
would've fought each
undertone that
other.
they're like, you're like, yeah, we're cool because they have that neutral territory, but there's like, Hitler's like 70-something years old at this point.
Oh.
He's like, well, when he dies, the next guy who takes over is going to wipe out the
Interesting.
Japanese.
Yeah,
so.
that's what I'm saying. They would have kept that going. I don't think he would have just been like, "Okay, cool."
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
cool, though. That's cool that they, different new ideas.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it feels like TV shows are the same things over and over.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's kind of trippy to see Nazi buildings, big Nazi flags in New York and stuff like that. It's weird, but it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's different. David, what have you been doing?
It's what you doing.
Oh, what
guys.
you doing,
Come on,
David?
both of you got it
Oh,
wrong.
man.
What you doing, David?
You guys are on the show like every week. You know that, right? I'm just kidding. No, what I did, or what you doing, is I did 2 things. Well, a couple things, but 2. I watched the couple first episodes of Jessica Jones on Netflix. You guys
I
catch
saw
those?
the first one. Yeah.
I have not caught up on
Oh,
that. yet.
man, it is good. It
It's
is
dark.
excellent. I think the reason I would recommend it to everybody, even if you are if you're a Marvel fan, you should check it out anyways. But what I enjoyed of it, being a Marvel fan, is I didn't really follow the Jessica Jones storyline,
right.
the Alias.
I don't think anyone did. I've never met anybody who's like, "Oh, Jessica Jones, my favorite. I'm Jessica Jones for Halloween."
Yeah, exactly. But what's cool about that is I don't know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like when I see, and I'll talk about it in a second, Civil War, I know what's probably going to happen in that storyline because I read the comic book, and I know what's going to happen in the Avenger. Like you kind of know. So I don't know what's going to happen in the Jessica Jones series. I would imagine good guys win, bad guy loses, but
Yeah.
the in-between conflict and things like that, I don't know. So it's really enjoyable. And there's some really, really interesting, and I don't watch the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but it seems like they show superpowers, but they do it in a way that's not over the top like Avengers, because I don't think, they have the budget. It's kind of like Daredevil. Daredevil has special abilities, but they don't really, it's more grounded. Does that make sense? You don't got a guy flying around in an armor suit shooting, laser beams.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's excellent, and I love the girl that, she's from, the actress that was in Breaking Bad. She played Jesse Pinkman's girlfriend.
The bee from Apartment 23.
Yeah, she's on that too. She's excellent in the show. She's fantastic. She basically plays a private investigator.
Always drunk.
Yeah,
She's a badass. It's really good.
Yeah, she's really, really cool. But it does some really good foreshadowing of what's going to happen. The bad guy seems like, I haven't really seen the bad guy yet, but the bad guy seems really cool. So
He
definitely,
was one of the Doctor Who's. I forgot which one. David Tennant or something like that.
yeah. But I've heard he's going to be awesome.
Didn't introduce any of the others, like Luke Cage.
Yeah,
Iron
Luke
Fist.
Cage is in it.
He's the black guy, right?
Yeah, he's the bartender and stuff like that. And so it seems like they're gonna give him his own show too. But the guy who plays him, everyone who's in it's just amazing cinematography. It's cool because it does feel like it is in something bigger. Like it's, it seems like there's gonna be something. The bad guy, everyone's freaking out about the bad guy, and it's dark, very, very dark.
Very dark.
There's like,
even the first episode. I'm like,
yeah, I would not
Jesus.
recommend this for anybody who, like, if you like Avengers and you think it's family oriented, this is not. It is. There's a sex scene. There's like
lot
drinking,
of
as we
them.
talked about. But it's good. It's really interesting. It has a different tone, but it's cool. I like how Netflix has this tone, and then like that's like their thing, and then you have the movies, and then you have maybe like Disney XD, which has like a whole different tone. It's cool that they kind of
And it's in Hell's Kitchen, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
in
that
New York.
whole, the Defenders and that whole section, that is always kind of had that other tone, you know what I mean? It's not campy and fun. It's just dark and depressing.
yeah.
But it's cool. It's all still MCU, so it's still in the same universe as the movies, as Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was.
Yeah, because they make some references to her being a superpower or superhero or just having super abilities, and people are kind of like aware that there are people out there that have that ability, and they make reference like, hey, are you,
You're
things
a
like
freak,
things like that. So that's one thing. Speaking of another superhero thing that I checked out, did you guys watch the new trailer for Captain America Civil War?
Of course.
I totally. You sent me that text like, awesome, and I was like, I need to do that before the show. Man,
you still didn't do it.
Oh my god,
you're the superhero
I'm the
guy.
worst fan ever. What can I say? I got other things going on.
I know it's only 2 minutes of your time, but it is.
I watched the clip that you sent me with your
Oh,
face. I watched that clip.
Yeah,
but
that was fun to do. Yeah, but it looks excellent. I mean, they've got me hook, line, and sinker. Like it's just the tone is right. I love there's a part in there where you're just like rips out your heart. You're like, but everyone check it out. I'm sure someone was telling me, they're like, oh, it looks awesome. When does it come out? Like in a couple, like 2 months? And I was like, no, May. And they're like, May?
Is it May? I thought it was like February, March or something.
Yeah.
No, it's probably the biggest movie of the summer.
I thought they were going to put the trailer before Force Awakens.
Me too.
Batman, Superman is like the same.
Yeah.
Next week.
It's like
it's going to be tough to say which one's going to be the biggest
close,
one of the summer, because those are going to be
it's going to be awesome.
Really close.
You know what? Yeah, we'll do that when we get further down into the episodes. But I definitely want to do something with the summer movie thing. But yeah, that's what I did. So now that we got through what you're doing, let's talk about Star Wars: The Original Trilogy.
OT.
Now, here's what's interesting. Before we move on, some people get upset when you call it the Original Trilogy, because the idea is that it's a six episode saga, and trying to cut them. I'll get into this later on.
Who gets upset?
It was cut by like 25 years. It wasn't like we did it.
Like they came out. Who would get upset with that? It
it's
easily distinguishes the two between each other.
No, I know, but some people, what it's saying is that Lucas talked about this, that George Lucas,
I thought you were talking about Skywalker. I was like, oh, he addresses this. That's nice.
Lucas, he talks about how he looked at it as an approach of each is a chapter, but it's a chapter of a larger book. So you can read a chapter of a book, but you need context and things. So they all fit together. And I'll go over, I did a lot of homework this week on Star Wars. I got real, as you would say, sweaty. I got sweaty into the nerd culture of Star Wars. A lot of interesting. I love the passion that people have for, obviously, Star Wars. I have it myself, but reading a lot of the interpretations and the ideas behind the mysticism behind Star Wars and how it was created and what Lucas was trying to do with the prequels versus the original trilogy. I'll get into that in a little bit. But we'll start with, of course, A New Hope. The very first one. Now, you just recently watched...
literally... Okay, that's why I didn't watch the Captain America trailer, and I didn't watch the new Defenders show. It was because I was watching in like 7 pieces A New Hope, because I wanted to freshen up. And I'd seen this before, but it was like 15 to 20 years ago.
How dare you?
I know, I don't keep up with the Star Wars
Every year,
stuff.
we watch it.
Yeah, on like a birthday or something. But yeah, no, I was really good. It made way more sense as like an adult.
Yeah.
Plus, actually having watched all the older or the newer movies, it gets confusing, but like he's talking about how he's a good pilot, and his dad was a pilot.
Yeah.
Like the whole conversation at the beginning with Obi-Wan, he's like bringing up the Force and like why it doesn't exist anymore. None of that made any sense to me as a kid. Like it was the boring part before they got to lightsabers, and but as an adult, I was like, oh yeah, that's what they're talking about.
It's pretty cool. They do make a lot of references to the prequels. They say, oh, my dad fought in the Clone Wars. So like, yeah, that's cool. Like as a kid, you don't.
Right.
But
what is the Clone Wars? I had no idea.
And
now you do.
Getting a little sweaty. What they were talking about, because I definitely check out this one other plug another podcast. It's called Story in Star Wars, and they basically take Star Wars and they look at it from kind of a story mechanics and things of that nature. But what's interesting is what Lucas does in a lot of his movies is give you enough information to know that the universe is bigger than what you think. Right? Because no one, at that point, you don't know what the Clone Wars are. You don't know what. I think he also says he was a spice trader, and so it gives you this the world is much bigger than what you think, and that's something that's hard to do in literature or in storytelling. So I don't know. Watching New Hope, I watched it again too, and I'm traditionally my favorite was Empire Strikes Back. A New Hope is now A New Hope is my new favorite, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. But
it was really, really good. One thing I noticed that they did, and I'd actually the one I watched was the special edition one with all the added pieces. I kind of want to watch.
Which special? They've added pieces every time they've re-released the movie on different media.
It's hard to tell.
It's a new one. If it's like the Blu-ray or digital release, they've added stuff.
He doesn't know.
I don't know. Yeah, so it had Jabba the Hutt part where he's like talking with Han outside the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
That part was not good. The graphics that they added, they look like they're newer, so I know those are the parts.
Yeah.
But they all look bad, and it doesn't make.
When they're driving through Mos Eisley and they just slam a bunch of crap on the screen in front of like people walking right in front of the frame. It's just like, oh, George,
a couple of the beasts. They don't look good. And it's like, then they go to the ones that are like clearly puppets and they look really good. And it's like, why did you change that? I don't know why they decided to add things in there. It didn't seem to bring anything to the movie. Plus, like, one of the things I noticed in these new ones versus the old ones is like, they didn't force aliens on you. Like, they showed them in the background and these things, but it wasn't like a main character. Chewie is the only main character alien in like the whole thing.
Yeah,
and
for the most part.
There's the two droids, and then everybody else is human. As far as you can tell, they're human, and I like that because it doesn't distract you. It's not like you're trying to get into this whole like story of other aliens and stuff. There's just this one standalone beast that just roars all the time, and yeah, I just thought it was a really cool way of doing it. They show some other aliens again. They're like, this universe is vast, but they're focused. It's very, very focused on these 5 characters and their adventure to save the princess, basically. I mean, it's like a Zelda.
Yeah, that's actually what this thing talks about. So a lot of people would say, well, what realm does Star Wars fit in? A lot of people would say science fiction. And the argument is actually it's more fantasy. It's more high fantasy because you have these secret wizards that have a magic wand or a magic sword to save the princess.
Exactly.
No, it has a lot of fantasy mechanics to it.
Yeah.
And I think Lucas even says one of his big inspirations was JRL, or is it JR? Tolkien, yeah. So it's interesting to kind of hear some of that. But one thing I did notice going back and watching A New Hope is you don't see this in movies a lot anymore, but the dialogue scenes between when Obi-Wan is talking to Luke, in between their dialogue, it's just quiet. Movies aren't quiet anymore. Older movies like from the 70s, like I watched Lawrence of Arabia recently. I've watched older movies. There's quiet. There's not a lot of quiet. There's always background music or something is happening during dialogue. It's not literally just quiet. It's interesting to see that. And it actually, as you watch the movies, there's less and less of that. Maybe because of, the movie got bigger and bigger and you needed more. But it's interesting to note that the very first movie, it seems quiet. There's a lot of quietness in the movie. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if you guys noticed that.
I did notice like some of the music is very subtle. Like they use certain things and like you can kind of tell where, I'm sure they do this in movies all the time, but you can tell like, oh, he's going to use the Force pretty soon because it's like that gets like
they
crescendo.
Build up to it and they make it all dramatic. Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
So do you like A New Hope or?
No.
Well, no. I mean, like generally, obviously.
I'm like, where's Star Wars?
Yeah, he's got the Star Wars shirt on.
No, I mean Empire is my favorite movie because it has all the twists and it sets everything up.
Right.
And it's like my favorite. But I mean, I love all of them. But I mean, New Hope would probably be my second, and then probably Jedi.
So what's interesting? So going over the kind of the sweaty stuff that I looked up, one thing that they talk about in A New Hope, and I think this is the reason why now it's my favorite of all of the original trilogy movies, is the mechanic between Luke and the Force, right? And the idea being the Force is kind of the antagonist of that particular film, meaning, and obviously Luke is the protagonist. Most people would, I'd say most people would agree. But the idea that Luke doesn't know what the Force is in the beginning, then is kind of shown it a little bit, right, when he's training with Obi-Wan, and then he wants it, right? He's like, oh, I want to be the most power. He doesn't say that, but you know what I mean? He wants to become stronger in the Force, and then he kind of sees the strength of the Force, like how scary it is, to be honest. And then
when does he see that?
Well, when he's seeing so like for instance, well,
because I mean he's not really familiar with Darth Vader, so he doesn't even know that
he
Force
sees
is related with that guy. I mean, essentially, and he sees him battle Obi-Wan.
That's the point where he sees how scary it is because
he doesn't know that that's Force related. It's just
he just cut him with a saber. Yeah.
No, I know, but I'm saying he sees maybe
the power of the dark side.
Right.
Maybe.
That's what I'm saying. Right. And then and there's a part in the podcast that they talk about. He talks about how the line where they're briefing to blow up the Death Star, right? And they say, oh, it's this 2-meter wide,
no bigger than a Womp Rat.
Yeah, exhaust port, and everybody in the room is just like, oh, this is ridiculous. Like even is it Briggs? What's his name?
Biggs.
Yeah, he's like, there's no way, not even a computer could hit it. And then of course Luke comes in and he's like, oh, I used to shoot Womp Rats that size, and everyone in the room is just like, what are you talking? Like, so it's this idea of him still relying on his piloting skills. and not letting himself go to the Force, right? And that's the whole point at the end, is that he essentially lets go of his
targeting computer. And
right. He doesn't have to. It's about letting go, right? Letting the Force be the medium.
If you
for
have
the
a
Force.
dead guy tell you, if you're like, you watch this guy die, and then he's like, "Hey, Luke, by the by, you've got this secret power." I would be like, "All right, I'll let it go. Let's try it out."
I guess.
Dead guy's good.
If a ghost ever talks to you, listen to him.
That's what I would do. If when they say "get out," you get out. If they tell you to shoot something, you shoot it.
So yeah, that's why I think honestly that's why I like it, having that appreciation for how the Force is kind of the point of that movie. I don't know. It was interesting.
I wouldn't call it an antagonist though, because that means he's
fighting against it because he's relying on his skill. It's like
I don't think it's fighting against as much as it is like not believing in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is like, you know what I mean? I mean, it's a religion. They talk about it as a religion. You're the last of your religion. Like,
right.
This is a crazy religion or
crazy
whatever.
old Ben, yeah.
And I mean, and a lot of people would be like, "Oh, I don't believe in your religion." And so then someone's like, "No, this religion's real." Like, no, like tomorrow, things are going down.
Right.
And then he's just like, "Okay, I kind of felt it that one time. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't."
Right.
And he was able to stop the laser. But then when it came down to it, he like had to kind of have faith. Basically, had to have faith in Obi-Wan Kenobi in this religion. But that doesn't make mean he's fighting against it.
No,
as much
I don't.
It is. He's just not
understanding.
He's
it,
not
coming
letting
to grips
in,
with
you know?
it.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's necessarily fighting. Maybe it's just the acceptance of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Versus reliance on his own piloting skill and things that he talks about. And he even talks. I think he talks about he wants to go out for adventure and all this stuff like that.
And I think that too is like he's a bored kid. I mean, he's basically all of us in like middle school. We're sitting in class and we're just like,
yeah,
man,
but it's even worse.
I really wish that I could go do some adventure.
Just want to go to Tashi Station to get some power converters.
No, you don't. It's boring,
right?
man.
He was so bored, and then he had friends that were fighting in the
join the
Alliance.
rebellion,
and so he was just wanted that adventure so bad. So when he got this opportunity to leave with Ben, and it was just an exciting moment and turn in his life from just being a moisture farmer to actually getting to do something, and then finding out it's a much bigger, that he's been a child or whatever. Can we talk about the shooting first thing?
Yeah, Han shoots first, right? So
Not in his version.
Oh,
that's-
okay. Well, that explains it. Because I'm like, it didn't seem like he shot first to me.
So in the original version, Han shot Greedo just like, boom, you're dead.
yeah.
Oh.
It was later edited to be like, we don't want Han to be that much of a dick because we want him to be a likable character. He's a good guy.
Right.
So we'll do Greedo shot first, and then Han, in self-defense, killed Greedo.
That is exactly what I saw. And I was just like, everybody's making Han to be a bad guy. And he's
in the
fine.
newest version, because they made it where like special edition where it was like Greedo shot,
It's at like the
frame,
same time.
frame, and then Han.
Right.
Where the new Blu-ray one, they made it where it's closer together, where they almost shoot at the same time.
It seemed like they
But
shot
the
at the same time, and it hits like right above his head. And
Yeah.
he hits him.
I see. I
But
don't.
the OG version, Han's just, I mean,
Yeah.
he's a smuggler.
Right.
Like,
he
he's
steals
not this
stuff.
nice,
Well-
likable character. He's a smuggler. So
And he did have a gun in his face.
yeah, exactly.
Either way, it's not like he just walks in the room. I don't like your face and shoots him. Like the guy's
Threatening him.
Yeah, he's basically like, "Where's my money?" And he's just like, "Yeah, I'll get your money." And then and then he shoots the guy. And, I
yeah.
mean,
No,
can't-
but and there's
can't blame
actually,
him.
and I'll talk about this later too. There's a lot of scenes that they filmed a couple different ways and times, and then they sent it to, what is that called when you send it to somebody and they like screen test? They did a screen test to see which version people found more receptive, and then they went with that. And there's some interesting when I looked up. Again, like I said, I did my homework this week. But okay, so New Hope. Anything else you guys want to add on New Hope? Did you guys? Okay, we'll break this up a little bit because I knew we were going to do this anyways. But did you play the New Hope version of the SNES game?
Yes.
Super Star Wars.
Super Star Wars is what they called it, right?
Yes. How far did you get?
I didn't get very far because that game is way too hard.
Got to use the save state function.
Yeah,
It's like not possible. I don't know. I got into, what is the big sand cruiser thing that picks up the robots?
the Jawas. The Jawa Sand Cruiser.
Yeah,
The Sandcrawler.
Sandcrawler. Yeah.
I got into the Sandcrawler.
That's not very far.
And like,
It's like the second part of the first level, right?
Yeah.
no,
It's a little bit further.
Like third or fourth part, because there's the first part you're just walking through the desert and jumping over like sand pits.
Yeah.
Second part you're on the cruiser and you're having to get to the sand crawler.
Oh, that's right.
Third part you got to get on top of. That part is ridiculously hard. The platforming to get on top of the sand crawler.
I'm already not good at platforming, so I mean, it's been a long time since I played that game.
Once you're inside, and then I just kind of lost interest more than anything else. I was just like, all right,
it's super hard. Yeah, and I think now just because of how games are not as hard, like I'm just like, why am I playing this? Like I could be playing Fallout. No, but it's just one of those things where it's just incredibly difficult. But when you were a kid, that's all you had, so you would spend 2-3 hours trying to just jump over. I just get, because of the save state thing, I get it, like the continue thing where like if you lose, you literally have to go all the way back to the beginning of the level. I'm like, where's the checkpoint? There's no checkpoints on Super Nintendo, but
save state.
Yeah, I know.
Just make your own checkpoints every time you jump.
Every time you just save.
Save every 5 seconds.
F7.
Yeah. All right. So, anything else you guys want to add to New Hope?
The one thing I thought there was like some subtleties. I thought at the end when they're like celebrating their victory over them. Also, one missile or two missiles blowing up that whole thing. Like I know they
hit the exhaust port, man. They hit the.
I know, but that was quite the explosion.
My thing was like, how does a torpedo go like this and then immediately get stuck down? If anything, you would just shoot from up here.
Right.
Why do you have to go down a trench and make the missile?
Maybe there was a covering and they had to go.
Maybe
I don't know.
Design flaw.
Yeah.
Oh, and the Millennium Falcon at the end. Like as a kid, I remember that being a much bigger part. And it's just like he flies in, kills one guy, and then leaves.
Yeah.
And then he's like, and now he's part of the rebellion. Like he was leaving, he had nothing to do with it, and then now he's a big part. But at the end, when they're both kind of like jockeying for Leia, and Leia looks at Leia. They say Leia in the movie.
That's Leia.
It's Leia. Go ahead.
Your
special edition version.
I finished it today.
Anyways, go ahead.
But anyways, the way she looks at Han.
Yeah.
And then the way she looks at Luke, and then he's like looking at, like gazing at her, and she kind of looks back at Han like, ooh.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
And
like Luke smiles at her, she smiles, and then Han gives her a cute little thing, and she's just like, here's your medal.
Yeah, it was kind of
funny.
There was some foreshadowing, some weird. Yeah, it was good though. But the ending does come out on that high note you were talking about.
Yeah,
with the medal up ceremony. And down. Yeah, no, like the whole movie. I don't know. The arc was really good.
Did you guys? How did you experience the very first movie? Did you see it? I saw the very first time I saw Star Wars. I watched it in a theater when they re-released it. I think sometime in the 90s. I think is when I watched it. That was the first time my dad brought me and was like, "Hey man, you're gonna love this," and I was like, "Oh, whatever." And then of course that very first scene, the giant Star Cruiser, and then the little, Star Destroyer. I was like, "Oh my gosh, so cool!"
I wish I remembered. I know we had the VHS set.
Yeah, buddy.
VHS. New Hope I still have. I don't have the other two. I'm pretty sure we watched them all. I don't remember.
No, that sucks.
I'm pretty sure I watched it on like TNT or something. It was
really?
Commercials.
So, yeah, definitely with commercials.
All right. Well, let's now move on to Gerald's favorite of the original trilogy, Empire Strikes Back.
It should be everyone's favorite, honestly.
Well, I asked. What's interesting, I asked on Instagram what was everybody's favorite of the original trilogy. It's a split between the two of your both favorite movies, Empire Strikes Back, and I'm guessing yours is Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Okay, so Empire Strikes Back. Obviously, we open up on the awesome, amazing Battle of Hoth, which has been. We'll talk about a game later that I think captures that. Well, there's been like 1,000 games.
Every single Star Wars game has the Battle of Hoth scene.
They're
always so.
Well, it doesn't really open with that battle though.
Well, the Tauntaun.
It opens up with an abominable snowman.
Yeah, the Wampa.
And I was just like, what? Where did that come from?
Shoving some guy into a carcass.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I thought that part was great, where they use the carcass to keep him warm.
The Tauntaun.
But it also immediately at the beginning, you can tell it's a sequel because they're like, here's the character, don't forget him. Here's the other character you loved. Oh, here's Chewie soldering something. It was just like a real quick glance through every character that you saw in the last.
You can also tell. I mean, I think definitely with Return of the Jedi, which we'll get into, the production value is like. The first movie hit, you know what I mean? Like, because the first movie has some really good special effects, but the second movie, just the Tauntauns, and I'm sure they've went back and kind of, because I watched the newer Blu-ray version, it looks great. Like, looks fantastic. Even the giant abominable snowman Wampa looks awesome.
Yeah.
It's excellent. So I do appreciate Empire Strikes Back because of the dark nature of it. But again, like I said, I think New Hope is now my favorite, just having done all this kind of extra additional
And he
research.
really quickly, it kind of shows too how he's grown a little bit, because there's some, time, I'm sure, between the two movies. And But when he's stuck and he pulls the lightsaber to his hand, like there was no moving of anything in the Force. It was kind of more of a guidance thing in the first movie.
Yeah, because he hasn't even gone to see Yoda.
Feeling it. Yeah, he hasn't seen Yoda. So, but then like he's just struggling for it, and it sucks to his hand. It's like, you know how you were saying in the new movie, you hope there's a new Force power. I feel like that was the new Force power.
Right, the
in that
Empire.
movie.
He can move stuff now?
Right,
That's so
right.
cool.
Now he can use the telekinesis, and that's really cool.
Yeah, and that's what I think. It's difficult to watch these movies now because you have everything right in your brain. It's hard to unwatch it, right? But yeah, that would have been. I don't remember Empire. I do remember New Hope just because of the Star Destroyer scene as a kid, but I don't remember New Hope or Empire Strikes Back seeing it for the first time. But that would be crazy. Like, oh my gosh, you can move stuff with your mind. That's awesome.
And
so,
it starts with the music, like that's where the crescendo builds, and they get sucked to his hand. It's really cool.
So then of course the big awesome reveal of
Battle
Yoda.
of Hoth scene is... sorry.
No,
I thought that's what you were talking about.
No,
Yeah.
Battle of Hoth. The
Battle of
AT-ATs.
Hoth is like one of my favorite battle scenes of like any of the Star Wars movies. It's so freaking good. Just the big in the distance, these big old legs and zoom out through these giant freaking walkers. So like, how the hell are we gonna do this?
Yeah, it's awesome.
We're just guys with blasters.
Yeah, and that's what the best thing about those movies is you get that sense of like this huge, expansive empire
not
versus
effing around.
yeah, and you're just some scrappy pilots, and like you look in their hangars and stuff. All of the parts are everywhere. There's electrical conduit everywhere. Like it just looks like this, kind of like this podcast just put together real quick.
At that point, like they know they see these big walkers. They don't even try to fight. They're like, "Yep, we're evacuating. We're getting the hell out of here."
Yeah, exactly. So it's excellent. And of course the what I was going to go to next is when Luke. Dagobah, Yoda. I love that. Like Han's just like, "Dude, you're crazy, you crazy old kid. Just get inside this dead animal." Like, meeting Yoda, going to the Dagobah system. I remember as a kid seeing Yoda, and I thought he was the coolest thing ever. Right?
Same here. Yoda was one of my favorite characters.
And there's that's a puppet, right? Like it just shows how amazing Frank Oz, right? That's who to capture that much in a puppet. That really doesn't move for all intents and purposes.
Right. Kind of hobbles around.
Yeah,
and talks and stuff.
But you get all of the emotion out of it, and of course you all the things that he says.
Plus the iconic, the way he talks.
Yeah,
I mean, if you say anything in the wrong order, it's like, oh, that's Yoda. It's just cool.
The other big thing in that scene is there's a couple things that they talk about, and this is kind of going back to the idea of the Force and why I think. Everyone says, okay, the movie's about Luke and the movie's about Anakin and Darth Vader. Those are what the arc is of those. Really, it's the Force, right? And I think that's generally what the movie should. If you look at it from that prism, then it's interesting because, like, for instance, Yoda says, he asks him, "Well, I'll try," and he's like, "No, what does he say?
Do or do not. There is no try."
Right, and that's the point of like. The idea, if you're actively engaged in something, right, and it's kind of like sports, right? If you're thinking too much about it and you just don't go off of instincts, you're probably going to fail. Like, just do it. Like, it's just so, I feel like Shiloh.
Just do it!
Just
make your dreams come true.
No, and then of course he lifts the X-Wing and stuff like that. And what's interesting is that Yoda, and this was on one of the podcasts I was listening to because he talks about it. Yoda, because he says, "I can't lift the X-Wing. What are you, crazy? That thing's
humongous, yeah."
And he goes, "It's not about the size of the object." And that's like the first, I don't think, because it always felt like, even in the prequels, like the bigger the object, the more concentration it took. But he's saying, no, that has nothing to do with it.
Right. Try harder.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but that's cool. I don't know. There's some really cool insight in that. And then of course the cave scene, right? When he kills
the Vader, yeah.
He cuts off his head and then it's his face. Ah! Yeah. Of course the
other thing with that moving the size thing is it kind of brings it back to that being a religion thing.
Yeah.
Because they're like, if the Bible, they're like, you can move a mountain,
right?
If you believe in God or whatever they're saying is exactly. They very much base the Force on, I don't know if it's specifically the Bible, but on religion in general.
Yeah, and I think Lucas has talked about, he grabbed inspiration from a lot of different things, but yeah, definitely religion has a big overtone in that entire series.
Now, did Mark Hamill get injured in between the first Star Wars and this Empire Strikes Back?
You're the details guy, Gerald.
I have no idea.
I think he did. I don't remember this for sure, and probably some rumor that I heard, but I thought he got in like some kind of car accident or motorcycle accident, and his face was screwed up, and then in the movie his face is screwed up, but I'm wondering if they put that whole thing where he like burns or gets the frozen things in to make that make sense. I was just
maybe.
curious if you guys knew anything about that.
Less makeup he needed.
I
Maybe.
guess I should have looked that up before I came in here.
But the other cool thing, so what's interesting about watching, because I watched Empire Strikes Back more recently, not super recently, but recently, is there's an issue with the time frame, because when he's on Dagobah, it cuts back and forth between Han and Leia and Chewie escaping the going down inside the
Asteroid.
yeah, and then going to Bespin or Cloud City, right? And it feels like if you kind of watch it in the cuts, it seems like Luke is only on Dagobah for like maybe a couple days.
He's like, oh, I gotta get out of here. My friends are in trouble.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, I learned all the Force in a couple hours. It's just like one of those, like, it's like an annex, like where they teach you how to like use PowerPoint. Use the Force only in 3 hours. It's like, but yeah, because by the end of it, he's like, and he tells him like, your training's not complete. Like you're not, you don't understand. But I mean, he's clearly, he holds his own to a certain extent. But
He's a natural though. He's born.
Right, but I think that's why, and this is what's also interesting. Obi-Wan Kenobi, for having messed up with Anakin, he's real quick to like put another lightsaber in a Skywalker's hand and put him out there. Like, dude, like
you're good to go.
Yeah, the last one was fine.
Right,
killed me, and like it's like, but yeah, it's interesting how Obi really just has no. But Yoda seems to be like, you need more training, and I love
too old.
Right.
Too old.
It's too old. But I don't know. I really, really, really like the scenes between, and again, it's quiet. It's between Yoda and Luke. But again, I think the timing is weird. If you're watching it, it feels like he's only there for a few hours maybe. Yeah. And then he like bails because he's like, I got it. Force, check, done.
I think with the Obi-Wan thing though, it kind of stays true to character with Ewan McGregor's character.
Right.
The way they wrote that to kind of match his optimistic view on life. Like he wants to see the good in people. He doesn't want to see the bad. He wants you to be the hero, and even though it didn't work out, it doesn't make him, he's just like, all right, I'll settle down here and wait for the next one.
wasn't he not qualified to take Anakin as a Padawan? He was just like, I'll take it from Qui-Gon. Right. Like, well, you're not a master yet. It's
he was still a Padawan to Qui-Gon, wasn't he? Or?
No, not at that point.
Oh.
But
he was a Jedi Knight. He wasn't a master then.
Right, but my point is like, it was nice to see, Obi-Wan contrasted in the prequels with like Mace Windu, who has this like real negative like feel to it.
Don't say dark.
Well, dark side, right? But no, but the other, that's why I like I get that. Obi-Wan is like this positive kind of reinforcement of like, hello there. He's always just very upbeat, right? So yeah, that's interesting. So I didn't even pick up on that. I just remember the whole time I'm like, man, you are real quick. Like you do not learn from your previous mistakes.
Well, he kind of also had no choice.
Yeah, that's true.
He was in a, they needed to save Princess Leia. He's too old to do it by himself. He's got this person that clearly does have the Force. He can feel it.
Yeah.
Lack of options usually helps move things along.
You're the only one that can just jump on.
All right, I got an extra lightsaber here.
Yeah. So, okay, anything else you guys want? Okay. So one of the scenes that they screen tested was, and it's interesting because this is one of the most iconic parts in Empire Strikes Back is the "I love you."
David, I love you.
I know. That scene between Leia and Han, and actually they were the story goes that Harrison Ford was changing the script as he was going, and he said that line, and Carrie Fisher was pissed because he was like changing the script on set, like, what are you doing? And that scene is by far Harrison Ford's best scene in the entire. He calms down, Chewbacca, because Chewbacca's throwing stormtroopers off the platform, and he's like, "It's okay. You got to watch the princess. You got to take care of her. Like, I'm gonna be okay." It's like this dad scene, and he's like, and she said, "I love you," and he says, "I know." Like, and they screen tested. They had other. I don't know what he said in the other versions, but he says something else, and they screen tested it, and that one everyone's like, "Oh, go with that one."
It totally fits his character.
Yeah,
the relationship. Well, his character like swiftly changes from not caring about anybody but himself to caring about a lot of people. It seems like,
and I'll talk about that with Return of the Jedi. Yeah,
but the dynamic between him and Chewie, like, it feels like if your dog could be a really cool person, like it would be the best. Like at a certain point, it goes and like scratches his head, and he's like, "Thanks, boy." It's like, man, I wish my dog was a Wookiee.
He was an excellent pilot.
Right,
could drive your car for you to work. How awesome would that be?
Yeah, it does. It would be really cool.
Yeah,
Wookiees are awesome.
What's also interesting is everyone, of course, is mad. Lando redeems himself, obviously, for Lando Calrissian turns over his friends. But what's interesting is he has the background with Han being the scoundrel, and they've flushed out his background with the comic books, which we'll get into
They had
in a
like a
second.
5 comic line, yeah.
Yeah, and he's also been on the Rebels TV show, the cartoon TV show. But it's interesting because he trades it for the safety of his people on Bespin, right? He's not that bad. And he thought,
And he's not that much of a dick. It's like they're gonna kill everybody in my city, or I can give away these 3 or 4 people.
yeah, the
What would
easy
you
choice,
do?
right? And that's what's everyone. And I love the part when he's like, "What's going on, buddy?" When Han's like hitting him, like it's just awesome. But
Plus, he kind of tips him off, right? I mean,
Right.
He's like, oh, yeah, come this way. Don't go this way. But yeah, come on.
I always love. There's a scene from I don't know if you've seen it with Robot Chicken where they do that scene when they open the door and Darth Vader's sitting at the end of the dinner table with Boba Fett. They do this whole thing where he's like sit down and they have like a full meal and they're like he's like, oh, so how's everyone's weekend? And like yeah, they have like a full meal and they're like, can we leave? No, you will have my turkey and you will enjoy it. So of course, Robot Chicken. Check out all of their Star Wars things. They're awesome. Okay. So then we have, go ahead.
Well, then at the end of the movie, that's when he loses his hand and he's like
Yeah, they have
hanging
the flying
on to the
cloud city.
thing, right? It's just kind of a hanger. Just,
Yeah, a little bit of a cliffhanger. I mean, there is some resolution. You obviously,
It's
Because
you're
like my
father.
parents always said that was the worst movie for them, Empire.
Yeah.
And it's because when you saw it in theaters and it just ends like that and you have to wait several years for the conclusion,
Jedi,
like
yeah.
that would make you irritated. It would be different for us. We can just, next movie, just throw it in. But for them, I mean, years. I mean, that was like Matrix when how disappointing that was after years
That's
of waiting.
true.
That's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good analogy. Yeah.
So.
Well, what's interesting, obviously, Luke leaves Dagobah to go save his friends, and then of course his friends end up having to save him, right? And that there's more to that in it's called this ring composition theory of how Star Wars was created, but it's
You
interesting.
really got sweaty.
I did. I went deep into the Star Wars mythos. But what's interesting too is basically this is kind of the same idea of the Force. He gets a little bit taste of the Force on Dagobah, and he thinks, "Oh, I'm ready to go save my friends," and clearly he is not.
Exactly.
And that's what I like. And there's a mechanic of storytelling that is the departure, initiation, and return. That's of the main character, right? And that's what happens. And technically, it happens throughout the series of the original trilogy. In fact, they name it Return of the Jedi. But it happens in each one of the movies too, which is kind of interesting that Lucas he definitely knows how to tell a story. It's just frustrating that I don't think the problem I think with generally with the prequels is just the direction of that storytelling in a movie, because I don't think a lot of people maybe if you're really into Star Wars, you know this, but George Lucas didn't direct Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
He didn't direct Return of the Jedi.
He just wrote it.
Right. I'm sure he was involved in the process, obviously,
definitely, yeah.
but there's obviously something different to being a creator of a story and then seeing that story play out, in whether it's a screenplay or whether it's a director. So it's interesting, and you can even see in like the new movies that are coming out, episode 7, you have a different director, you have a different screenplay writer, you have a different writer of the.
So for 1, 2, and 3, were those all Lucas?
Yes, I believe so. Weren't they?
Yeah, he directed all 3.
Gotcha.
So and that's interesting. I don't think a lot of people know that, because they go, George Lucas wrote it, directed it.
I just assumed he did.
Right,
all.
right. That's my point. So it's interesting that people love those movies, and that's I think what you said. The first thing they did when Disney got is like, George Lucas is not involved
Ouch.
with these.
Sorry,
but
George.
Thanks for creating this amazing universe. Get out. It reminds me of like a guy who starts a company and then eventually is kicked off the board. And he's like, but the name of the company's my name.
Right.
So
But I think the additions they made in the special edition stuff that I think is unnecessary and just kind of takes away.
Right.
I think that's like the first, just specifically the first of the newer ones. It's just like a whole movie of that. It's just like, oh, let's show them this cool alien. Let's show them this cool thing. Let's show them the underwater Gungans. Let's show them
episode 1.
Episode 1, yeah. I feel like it's just a whole movie of those special moments that really weren't that great in the older movies. But the pod racing thing, cool, but it's like totally unnecessary. Didn't really. I mean, it kind
had to
of
win.
We talked about that in the last episode, how
Yeah.
a lot of that movie is unnecessary.
right,
The whole
but
entire thing.
and that's where Lucas I think went wrong.
I'll explain with the ring composition why it all makes sense.
Speaking of Empire, I am curious how they take it with, because his lightsaber, he gets his hand cut off.
Right.
It's his lightsaber. That lightsaber is Anakin's lightsaber from back in the day, and apparently it's recovered and used in Force Awakens. If obviously you guys have seen the trailers and stuff, so I'm curious how that's recovered and how that plays into.
Yeah, it should be interesting.
It's kind of cool how they tie that in.
Doing all this Star Wars stuff, I just get more and more excited for the new one. I cannot wait. But let's move on to Return of the Jedi.
You mean Revenge of the
Or
Jedi?
Return of the Jedi.
You mean Revenge?
Why would you call it Revenge?
It was originally called Revenge of the Jedi.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And they changed the name because it's like, well, Jedi's it's kind of revenge, and Jedi doesn't really go together.
Well, yeah, because they're
But the original title of the movie, there's posters that say Revenge of the Jedi.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't even know that. Well, they're so, totally like pacifism, right? They're not. They're all
Exactly.
about
That's why they're like
revenge. Nah, not so much
not
of
their style.
And actually, if you look at what happens in Return of the Jedi, he's just like, hey, like, just stop being bad. Like, that's his whole, like, until he's like, okay, I guess I gotta fight you now. But, okay, Return of the Jedi, your favorite, Jordan. I like this. We have all three, right? My favorite is New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, that one I still have not seen in a really long time, but I just loved the Ewoks and that whole scene, the battle scene. Not specifically that they were Ewoks; they could have been any indigenous people, but the way they battled all these robots and stuff with logs and traps, and it was very cool. I mean, I have to give it that aspect was really awesome, you know, like Home Alone-ish, you know, just like they're walking into these traps, and then just like all these little Ewoks like hanging on to these big giant rope. Were the AT-ATs there, or were those the
ATSTs?
ATSTs,
oh, yes.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Nerd alert.
Well, that's no. What's interesting about that is that whole storytelling idea. The story goes that originally those were supposed to be Chewbacca Wookiees.
Right.
But having Chewbacca be this excellent pilot and have all of, hanging out with Han, it kind of he didn't have that indigenous feel to him anymore, right? So I think that's why they went with the Ewoks. But it is that idea of nature versus technology, right? And that.
Yeah, definitely.
So that is awesome. That is fantastic.
And the speed bikes through the forest. I mean, how cool was that?
That was super cool.
Really cool.
So cool.
They filmed that in the Redwoods in California. That's where they filmed all that, which is awesome. I mean, the cinematography of all that is just awesome. If you ever get a chance, go check out. There's trees big enough that they've cut holes in that you can drive your car through.
Yeah, it's cool.
I think it's just one.
No, there's a couple. But nonetheless, if you
drove through it and then you drove back through it.
I was a kid. I was a little kid, so maybe you were right. I got tricked. My dad's like, there's two of them. That's funny. No, but definitely check it out in Redwoods of California. So one thing that's interesting about Return of the Jedi, and I think we talked about this with Empire, at this point, the movie feels like a spectacle, right? It feels like a big blockbuster.
Grandiose, huge.
Yeah, and I think some of that hurts the movie, honestly. That's part of why I don't like Return of the Jedi. And not that I don't enjoy it, I love it, but it's not my favorite because of that reason, because it feels more of it's gotten so, at this point, I mean, the first one came out in 79 and the last one was in 83. No. 80, I don't remember the year.
Man, I should know this.
I think it's 77.
That sounds like a details kind of
I
question.
should know that.
Anyways,
a Star Wars detail guy.
I think it's 80. I'm pretty sure it's 83 is when Return of the Jedi. But at this point, the budget is through the roof. There's going to be 1 million toys made. So it feels like it's serving multiple masters at that point, right?
Yep.
You have to create toys. You have to create a reason, just like they do now. And I feel like some of the storytelling gets lost. Now, this is what's interesting about, you talked about with Han's character. Beginning of it, he's just for himself, right? And then, of course, by Return of the Jedi, he's a full-fledged like commander in the general in the rebellion or the Rebel Alliance.
Oh,
I know. I'm sorry. I'm messing up all the words here. No, but it's interesting because, and this is another question. So when he gets frozen in carbonite, right? Is he thinking? Or is he like in a coma?
I think it's like stasis where you don't know.
So like, here's the thing. Well, maybe I guess being frozen in carbonite might change your opinion on who you should be fighting for and who you should be fighting against, right? Because I'd be pretty pissed if I got frozen in carbonite. But everybody else in the story has time to essentially grow, right? And kind of become characters or have motivations and things like that. But like Han comes out of it and he's like, okay, I'm with the Rebel Alliance at that point.
I think he was already
rebelling in Empire.
Yeah, as soon as Empire started, he was
protecting the princess and all that kind of stuff.
Right, and he was like gonna leave and go take care of his debt to Jabba, and then they were like, there was we went to go find Luke instead of taking care of that. But when he went to leave, they were like, you're our best commander. We hate to lose you. You know what I mean? So he was already pretty involved at that point. I don't think he was just changing his mind after his frozen, because he didn't get frozen until farther in the
right. And the podcast that I listened to talked about it would have been interesting to have Han in Return of the Jedi when he's with Leia and they're trying to take over the base on Endor, right?
Yep. Yeah, or the forest moon of Endor.
Yes. So it would be interesting if he turned to Leia and he's like, when it seems like all hope is lost and they're going to lose, he's like, hey, let's just get out of here. Like, let's me and you, go have a life of our own and forget all this. That would have been interesting. right?
Yeah, but I don't
the
think it would have
princess would
gone
never have
anywhere.
gone
'cause-
for that.
Yeah, she would just say
Maybe.
absolutely not. I mean,
No, she's a princess of
I-
the rebellion.
I
She'd be
know.
like, no.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay here with my people.
probably would have slapped him or something. I was totally against her character to be like that, and she wouldn't even really let Han know that she had feelings for him. Like, she would fight against that. Like, even in the Empire, like, as soon as he's like, you like me, she like goes and kisses Luke, which is totally a woman thing to do.
Oh, at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Like, by Cloud City, she's like, I love you.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
But,
that point-
he saved her life how many times now, so, I mean,
Yeah.
he deserved it, I guess.
And
Okay.
you kind of feel bad for Luke until you find out it's his sister.
Oh,
You're like, oh, good
Oh,
thing,
man,
good thing
yeah.
that worked out the way it did.
Yeah, exactly.
That would have been real awkward.
So one of the things in Return of the Jedi is the special scene that's added when they go to Jabba's palace with the dancing. It's
Oh,
called
God,
Jedi Rocks, I think is the name of the song. It's so bad. I get why. I don't understand why. It's so
Because it's Lucas, and he doesn't even know.
but it's so out of place. And
Yeah,
they didn't
there's
need
a
it.
lot of stuff in the special edition that's out of place. That wouldn't be the first thing.
But I love the battle with the Rancor. I love the Rancor. The fight between him and
Oh, yeah.
that was awesome. But what's interesting, go back and watch that. Okay, so what was their plan? Because if their plan was to get captured, you know what I mean? Like, because the whole R2 shoots the lightsaber across the thing, he grabs it, he frees himself. Luke does, and when they're at the Sarlacc pit, because it seems like the plan was Leia was gonna in the middle of the night unfreeze Han and then escape.
Yeah.
Right. Well, if that was the plan, then it didn't. Like, it's just weird. Like, how did they
I
plan?
think he had it. Okay, so this is what I think. Luke or R2 always had the lightsaber because it's like, listen, we're gonna send Leia in, get him out, and then we're cool. If that doesn't work, then I'm gonna go in there, start up some stuff, and then we'll get him out. Then you have my lightsaber just in case because they're gonna take it away from me.
That's a
So I'll
good
just
point.
give it to you in advance, just in case.
Nobody
I need
shakes
to
down
use
the droids, apparently.
it. Yeah.
If you're a
Plus,
droid.
send him through the metal detector. And he's like, what are you going to do? Like, you're full of metal. What?
Yeah. So if the first plan worked, then they would have all just left.
Yeah.
But because it didn't, they needed to send in the Jedi to
Gotcha.
take care of business.
Yeah. That scene, the Sarlacc pit scene, is the best. I love that, like, Han's still he can't see. He's got the hibernation sickness. He's like, what's going on, buddy? And he's like, you're about to die. Just duck.
Boba Fett.
That's the other thing, Boba Fett. Everyone loves Boba Fett. I love Boba Fett.
Boba Fett is
Boba
huge
Fett.
for not being huge
Yeah.
in the movies.
That's funny. So I was at the Disney store the other day, and they have like talking figures, push button. They have
Yeah.
a Boba Fett that has like 7 talking phrases. I'm like, I think he only says 7 things in all 3 movies. It says like, put him in the cargo hold. It's like, that's an iconic phrase.
Yeah.
I guess.
I guess.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting, did they go back and, because the actor who plays Jango Fett obviously is the clone of, it's his son, right?
Boba Fett is a clone of Jango Fett, but he grows at a normal age. For
Yeah.
Screen,
Now, for the special editions, they went back and added the guy's voice who was Jango Fett's voice. Because this is the cool thing. And then, of course, the big thing that they changed, and I read something about how to explain this, retcon this, is at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Oh, we're going right to the end, right?
Well, what do you want to talk about?
No, there's a lot of stuff, but it's fine.
No. So the at the end of Return of the Jedi, when he sees the ghost of Obi-Wan, he sees him as older Ben, and then he sees Hayden Christensen, and everyone's like, well, that doesn't make sense. Why would he doesn't even know what he looks like. But there's this theory that that was when Anakin died, right? Anakin died as that, and then he became Darth Vader. It's this idea that because when Darth Vader dies on the Death Star, right, and he takes off his mask,
Looks like an egg.
Yeah. He does kind of look like Eggman from the old Batman.
No, but the point is that his body doesn't like disappear like it does for Obi-Wan or like Yoda. He doesn't give himself
He
away
just
to the
dies,
Source. He just dies. So the idea is that Hayden Christensen was the last. That's when he was given to the Force, or whatever you want to say. The last moment when Anakin lived. That's interesting. I thought that was kind of a cool.
I think I just put it in there to make sense, but whatever.
Yeah, they were just trying to add some continuity.
Go see the original movie, or go see the prequels, is what they're trying to say.
Right.
Exactly.
But I didn't think that there were projections in his mind. Are they? I thought it was a projection from the Force. It doesn't matter if he knows what they look like.
I know. It's just who'd be like, who's that guy?
Yeah.
Like, I know you two. Who's that guy?
Right.
Oh.
That would be confusing.
It would be weird to see. Right. And like he's never actually seen what his dad looks like other than the egghead. So he's like, who? Man, my dad was a lot better looking back in the day.
Right. It's like, why did Obi age?
Yeah. I also like the scene where one of my favorite scenes of Return of the Jedi is obviously here's another thing about Return of the Jedi. It is definitely a space opera. If you go back and watch it, some of the acting is not that great. Like when Luke is just like
the whole trilogy of acting.
He's just like, my friends are gonna help. Like you're wrong. It's just like, dude, like just chill a little out, daytime Emmy.
That's in the first one when they're getting in there like, your R2 unit's a little screwed up. You want a new one? He's like, no, we've been through so much together. And I'm like, you just met that guy like just like a couple days ago. He's like so committed to R2D2.
Yeah, so there's definitely some opera or soap opera feel to it. It's definitely space opera. What is awesome about there's a scene where, and of course I'll get the details wrong. This is where hopefully you can fill in. It's the part when Luke is talking to the Emperor with Darth Vader there. I love that whole scene because it's a rubber band thing, right? The tension. Like, when are they going to fight? When are they going to fight? When are they going to fight? And he says, Luke says to the Emperor, your confidence is your biggest weakness, right? You're overconfident of your empire, essentially, is what he says. And then the Emperor says, well, your biggest weakness is your trust in your friends.
Yeah.
Right? And the thing that's unique there is they're kind of talking about the same thing, right? And about Darth Vader. Because he's saying your confidence in what you've built your empire and your loyal, right-hand man, Darth Vader, is your biggest weakness. And he's saying, well, your friends is your trust in your friends. They're talking about the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Darth Vader, because he's like, he will end up being good. And what's interesting, obviously, at the end of Revenge of the Sith, Padme's like, there's still good in him. I swear there is. Like, That's what's so, like...
And it's a prophecy that he's going to bring balance to the Force.
Right.
And that's eventually does.
That's what's so cool. Like, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it because that's so awesome. Like, that is so cool. And that goes into... what else do you want to add? Because I want to talk about the ring theory a little bit. But
go ahead.
Okay, so the ring theory is this idea. It's in its most simplest form. Here's an example.
It's a circle and it never ends.
No, it's like an
Mordor or something.
No, it's two successful clauses or sentences in reverse order. The prime example is Kennedy saying, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." So it's this A B B A, right? That's the idea. And so I didn't do this, but obviously there's a theory. You can read it online. Actually, I'll put it in the show notes because it's like 9 pages.
You said that
long.
last week. I'll check the show notes. Wasn't there what you said, that Amazon link?
Yeah, they were. They were in the show notes.
I didn't
You gotta
see
hit
it.
the thing that expands them down.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
You don't know how
Just
to use the
checking.
phone.
You don't know how to use YouTube.
So there's this idea that there is a ring theory of how the movies are matched up, and meaning it goes A, B, C, meaning Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, and then it goes C, B, A, meaning A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. And the two A's match up, the two B's match up, and the two C's. So it goes, the first movie matches up with the last movie. It's a reflection of that movie.
Match up.
Yeah.
It's a
That's what I'm
reflection. It's a
confused.
ring. So it continually cycles it. So, like, here's an example. Let me give you some examples. So, for instance, the Phantom Menace and the Return of the Jedi. So, for instance, Act 1. 2 Jedis embark on a mission to rescue Queen Amidala from the palace, right?
Yeah, Trade Federation, yeah.
Right. If you go back and you look at Return of the Jedi, 2 droids embark on a mission to rescue Han Solo from Jabba the Hutt. Now, it's close. There's more examples in here, but I'm just trying to show you that there's mirror. And so what people are saying is what Lucas was trying to do, and they even like take shots. Like the beginning of Return of the Jedi, there's a scene where the Darth Vader is coming to the rebuilt Death Star, and it's the scene where he's flying and he lands. And then in the Phantom Menace, it's the same thing. A ship is coming, they land, they get out. The Jedis. They do shot for shot. It's pretty incredible.
That can either be this ring theory you're talking about. I've never looked into it, or just lazy writing and directing.
He's just like just
they love
copy
that scene. Let's just do it again.
Full of form.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
It's a template made. Copy paste.
No, and then like for instance, like Revenge of the Sith. If you look at that one, a space battle between the Republic and Separatist force rage over Coruscant.
Of course not.
Yeah, and then if you look at New Hope and you flip it, the reverse of it, Act 3 is a space battle between Imperial and Rebel forces raging over the Death Star. So it's this idea that the entire movie is a mirror of itself. It's interesting. I like I said, it might not.
The whole thing's a bunch of space battles.
Yeah,
and
like how
going out and rescuing people, and
Well,
I
not
mean,
space battles though. It's the same thing.
There's
It's like,
droids,
there's
there's
space battles
pairs
in a
of
lot of these
people.
movies,
Yeah, I don't buy this ring.
Yeah, neither do I.
The ring
Seems
that
like
never
lazy
ends.
writing and directing for the prequels.
I always think it's funny what they say, like, you know, in the weddings, they're like, the ring, it's a circle, 'cause circles never end.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no shape ends. Like none, like squares, they just have 90-degree angles, triangles.
That's
like
funny.
it has nothing to do with the circle shape. No shapes in, that's what makes them shapes and not just weird lines.
That's funny. I can see you interrupting. Does anyone have anything objection? Real quick. A triangle would be the same
Fisher,
thing.
you're wrong.
Yeah, I don't really see the significance of the never-ending thing because like that applies to every single shape in existence.
All right, so now that we've kind of got... Do you have anything else you want to add? Return of the Jedi?
I don't want Return of the Jedi, but I did have a interesting conversation about the Phantom Menace with my friend at work.
What'd you say?
He said that...
It's the wrong episode.
I know, but we're not going back.
We'll just add this in.
So, yeah, we're going to cut this. We're going to do a special edition of 3 weeks ago and cut this one in. Yeah, that'd be great. No, but he said that Jar Jar Binks was originally supposed to be a bad guy. And that he was going in, like, supposed to be in, like, the second or third movie. He was going to have more significant parts. And he was actually going to turn on everybody and, like, turn them into the dark side.
Well, he is kind of
like
he is the catalyst for why the Empire, he's the one that gives the Chancellor
right
powers.
And it makes, like, the things make more sense because, you know, he like, goes to the Gungan base and everyone's, like, hates him. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm just clumsy. And it's like, that's, like, totally an excuse you would give if,
That's
like,
funny.
everyone hates you because you're a traitor, you know?
He just turns to the camera and he's like, Jar Jar kills. He just turns super evil.
And then, like, in the battle where he's, like, accidentally doing things and not getting hurt because he's really
purpose.
on that side, so they're not trying to hurt him.
Hamming it up,
yeah, I was like, that
I think
could have made him
people
more
look
likable.
Way too much into this. It's kind of like the ring
No,
theory. It's
that's-
like you're looking too much into it, man.
No, it's cool though.
It's
I
a cool
appreciate
little, they're fan theories. It's cool to think of, but it's like,
So what do you here's another thing about with the new movie, because we did this with the prequels. What do we hope that the episode 7 learns from the original trilogy? And the first thing that I think is they're just going to make the original trilogy again. Now, it feels like it, right? I mean,
they have a Death Star, right?
it feels like they have kind of a
So
Death
you think
Star.
Luke is Obi-Wan Kenobi, and there'll be a new version of Luke, and
Yeah,
like
that's
that
what it
kind
kind
of
of. They might split it a little bit on how it.
Knowing JJ, he's gonna twist this thing up.
There's going to be a
lens
giant.
flares and twists everywhere. maybe like a I wouldn't say a carbon copy of the movie
No.
or the trilogy, but it's definitely gonna be it's gonna be one of the Skywalker's kids. Finn or Rey or one of them are kids.
Yeah.
Must be.
It looks so good. There's a couple TV spots that they're showing now, and I'm just like,
When
I
that
got-
Stormtrooper brings up that thing that can like stop a lightsaber.
Yeah,
like,
super
it's so
cool.
cool.
oh, that is cool.
yeah. So okay, moving on. Let's talk about some of the
I
game.
think, well, you didn't even let me answer, but keep focus. That's what I hope they learn. There was a focus on those movies, and it was very streamlined, one to the next thing, and there you can almost cut it up in like 5 parts for at least New Hope. I recently watched that one, and I don't think you can do that. Can be said for the other trilogy.
Feels all
So,
over the place.
Yeah, so this just like it's direct, like it goes by really fast. You don't even think about it, but it's just like he's on Tatooine. Then they jump to Mos Eisley. They're after the princess at the Death Star. Then they go to I forget the next step, but then they do the final battle.
Yeah, it feels delineated.
Oh, he's in the rebel base, and then they're in the
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
like it's just kind of like paced along really nice, and it's just quick, good story. Not just like let's throw a bunch of other things, and then they're on this planet made of water, and then they're in this. I just
Right.
kind of I don't know. I hope that's what they do.
Yeah.
Also, maybe one of our listeners or viewers can explain to me, but is there canon material that explains in between Empire and Jedi how Luke becomes a Jedi?
It was Yoda. Yoda taught him everything.
Yeah, see, that's the thing.
No, and that's
Like,
that-
he comes in with black coke, his green lightsaber. That again, there's nothing to explain how he builds it. I know there's that book, Heir to the Jedi, which I haven't read because I heard it's terrible. But I want to know how does he build his lightsaber? How does he become?
Yeah, because even Darth
where
Vader
does he
says, "Oh,
learn
you
from?"
look like you crafted a new weapon or whatever," right?
Yeah, exactly. If there's any canon material that maybe I've
He is
missed,
super cool when he walks into Jabba's palace and he's just like, "You're gonna give me Han Solo or you're gonna die." Like,
and
it's
he gets
just-
on the page. He's like, "Crap, that didn't work."
that's my point. I think like their plan was like, "Oh, he's gonna be like, he'll give up Han, no deal. I'm a Jedi. Look at me, I'm in all
underestimated
black,
him,
man.
yeah.
I look awesome."
And
And
he's
he's
the freaking clone.
Also,
That's
when there's no other Jedis to say no, you're not. You can do whatever you want. But like, do you have a lightsaber? I don't think so. I'm a Jedi.
yeah,
I did forget to say one thing about the original trilogy versus the prequel trilogy, but so the Jedi robes, pretty iconic, right?
yes.
The tan and the brown things.
I thought about picking one up and wearing it on the episode. They're way too expensive. Go ahead.
So there's this thing on the internets and on the webs that those aren't Jedi robes originally, because Owen, his uncle's wearing one on Tatooine.
right.
It's a traditional Tatooine garb,
Oh, okay.
and because Obi-Wan was wearing something like that it's Jedi garb, but it's like no, it's just what they wore on
Hmm.
Tatooine. But now in the prequels they took that as Jedi
Right.
robes and stuff when they're really not. It's
Well,
kind of
just
interesting.
Uncle Owen was a Jedi. Done.
Yeah, maybe
He's not
Explain.
though.
maybe they wrapped baby Luke up in one of those Jedi garbs when they dropped him off, And then he was like, "Oh, this is nice. I'm poor."
Can't wear it for 20 years. I'm just gonna strap
I'm
this
just
thing
gonna
on.
wear it till then.
Maybe.
See, we can retcon. Jordan could retcon.
Fix anything. Fix anything. Got questions? I got answers.
All right, so let's move on to the Star Wars games involved in the original trilogy. One that's out right now that just came out was
Battlefront,
which is on Xbox, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and I think PC too, right?
PC, yep.
So first-person shooter. The thing I don't like about it
And third person.
Oh, there is? You can switch to third person? Okay, the first thing I don't like about it, there's not really a campaign. There is a little bit of a campaign, but it's mostly online, right?
Campaign, yeah.
Come on, man. I want a campaign.
EA, man. They'll sell it to you as DLC later on, and you'll buy it.
I will. I already freaking bought the game. But it's very good. I played the beta before it came out, which I was like, they did the Battle of Hoth, and it's just like amazing. You can drive an AT-AT.
Except you can't win as the rebels, but other than
They
that...
fixed that. They fixed that.
Oh,
in
they
the game.
bounced it
Yeah,
out.
they bounced it back out. But there's some awesome clips online where someone's like they play like this awesome da-na-na-na music, like this guy's running up a hill, and he's like about to kill somebody, and then just the AT-AT just... and he's just like, oh. It's just awesome. You have those moments in those kind of games where the AT-AT just smashes you, or you could take a TIE fighter and crash it into an AT-AT and try to blow it up that way, or in this case it would be an X-Wing. But it's an amazing game. It definitely feels like Star Wars. You're talking about all the music and how it builds up. I don't know how they do it in the game, but it feels like the music is timed to like what you're doing, even though it's not, but it just feels like it. The blaster sounds, the lightsaber sounds, because you can get upgrades where you become
a hero, yeah.
Darth Vader or Han or Luke Skywalker,
Leia,
and you're like
Boba
super powerful. Like you like push people and they just like go flying off the screen or whatever. It's awesome. Like it is fantastic. So I would check it out. I mean, the one downside is
I don't think it's that great. But
really.
Yeah, one, it's incomplete from what I played. I guess I need to play the retail version because I only played the beta. But from what I heard,
it's incomplete. It's called a beta.
No, I'm just saying. Like
that word means.
From what I heard, the game is for a $60 game. There's a lot of content that's missing. The blasters, there's like 20-something different blasters you can choose, but they're pretty much all the same thing, except this one zooms a little bit more. This one does a little bit more damage. This one's a pistol.
A laser's a laser, bro.
No,
That's
I
right.
know.
How focused are you going to get it?
It's not like a typical shooter where you have like a shotgun, you have a rocket launcher. I mean, there's rocket launcher pickups, but you don't have these very different kind of weapons. They all kind of
See, I'm
feel
surprised.
the same.
Do you get to do all the different ships? That's one of the things I think is cool about Star Wars. So many
A-wings,
different.
So they have a like a dogfighting version of the game. Did you play the Battlefront 2 or the original?
I played Battlefront 1, I think.
Way back in the day.
So they had space battles in those games where like the bad guy Imperials are on a Star Destroyer, the other guys are like a Carillion cruiser or whatever, and you fly out of here and you're fighting in space. They don't have any of that, which really sucks. But again, it's going to be DLC. They'll sell.
Yeah, and I've heard. Yeah, I think what they're going to end up doing, it'll be like a platform almost, Battlefront, and they'll add stuff to it over the years. It'll be something that is continuous.
Unfortunately, that's their model, and it's Star Wars, so people are going to buy it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel like a $60 release to me, but I mean, it looks fantastic, even on console. But when I played the beta on PC as well, it looks so good, like photorealistic almost. And then the sounds, like you said, the sounds of the blasters, the sounds of the music, everything that sounds great. I do like when you respawn, it does the wipe. Like on the movie, like a
Star Wipe or whatever they call it.
Yeah. So all that looks cool. I just wish it was more, but it'll be more.
I know that EA has, or it's EA who got the license, and they're going to make a campaign version here probably within the next year. I think they just want it, obviously.
They'll sell it to you though.
They're gonna make money.
No, I know. It's just
they're
release it with the game.
There's Star Wars jewelry at Jared. Like, come on, man.
No, I'm not talking about that.
Oh my god, I saw a commercial for Star Wars makeup.
Oh yeah, my wife has.
Oh really?
Because
I was
CoverGirl
like,
mascara.
CoverGirl, Star Wars CoverGirl. I was like, they're wasting their advertising money at this point. I'm just throwing it down the drain.
No, man.
No, but I mean,
sell
for
it,
like
man.
video games, like if everyone knows you're going to do it, just do it. Don't be a jerk and release a stupid $50 season pass so the game is $110.
I still think it's complete. I've played enough that I would say it's pretty cool. We'll do a Let's Play of it. We'll see if your opinion changes.
Yeah.
All right, so that's one game. The other game that I wanted to bring up, of course, is a board game. You guys both have played it. It's called Star Wars X-Wing.
Right?
Yeah, it's these guys up here in the front. It's a tactical miniatures game. I know. Sit back down. Sit back down.
This is what I do the whole time I play.
Yeah, and it drives me nuts because I'm supposed to keep...
I'm like, where'd I put it? Where was it? I don't remember. Somewhere over here.
No, the game's pretty cool. One player, you basically create like a fleet of ships, and they're these little painted miniatures, so you don't have to do any painting.
And
they're
fantastic.
Yeah,
so
they're-
detailed.
Yeah, they're super detailed. They're not terribly expensive. And one team is, of course, the Rebel Alliance, and one team is the Empire. And you get the ships, the TIE fighters and the X-Wings. And then, of course, you can, just like EA, you can buy lots of extra additional stuff like the Millennium Falcon and then one of the Star Destroyer type of ships. And what's cool is they have some extended universe ships and stuff like that. But let me tell you about the game. So the game is you have these ships, and there's a couple different phases. The first phase is you kind of move your ship. You pilot it on this, I think it's a 3x3 square you set out on your kitchen table or whatever. And you pilot your ships, and then if you get into a certain range of the other player, you can roll dice to try to hit them. But there's special abilities that you can add to each of your ships. So you can kind of customize your attack fleet beforehand, which is really cool. But what's nice is it has this mechanic of if you're a really good, you want to move last and shoot first, right? Because if I can move last, then I can kind of I can literally move out of the way of the microphone, right? I can move out of the way of your targeting area, and then I can flank you, and then I can hit you where you can't hit me.
Right.
So each character has, like, Luke is an excellent pilot, so he has a very high piloting skill, so he gets to move last and shoot first, right? But at the beginning when you pick your fleet, you're limited by a certain amount of points that you can put in your fleet. So you can have a bunch of little tiny kind of minions, a bunch of TIE fighters, because you can add like 6 or 7 TIE fighters, or you can get a giant Millennium Falcon, but it'll take a lot of
piloted with Han versus just a normal.
Right. So
you have a cap. It's like you have a 500-point cap, and
something like that. Yeah.
Millennium Falcon takes 250, but a TIE fighter's like 50.
Right. So it's cool. There's like different. It's just like you were talking about with Warcraft 2. You have different ways of playing the game. You can get this giant kind of army that's all little like tiny little minions, or you can get this one big bad and then kind of surround them with a couple little guys. So it's unique, and the theme of Star Wars actually plays through really well in this game. So TIE fighters, when they're close to each other in battle, they give each other benefits, just like TIE fighters would do. Because they're not very strong. They're very fast, but they're not very strong. The whole thing that they blow up easily and things like that. The X-Wings are a little slower, but they have a lot more power behind them. Right. So it feels like the movie, the theme of, and of course, I love playing these games because you constantly say all the lines from the movies, like "Stay on target." I have you now. All those lines come through when you play the game. You both have played
shot,
it, right?
Kid. Don't get caught.
Right, exactly. You guys have both played it. Did you enjoy it?
It's all right. I mean, I love the miniatures. They look awesome. The game itself, it's kind of slow. But I did beat you.
You did
the
beat
one
me.
time
That
we played.
makes everything better.
Made it better.
I only played it once, and like I had just finally gotten the movement down, like at the end of the game, and I made too many mistakes to win.
Yeah, one of the things about the game is you have a dial that has all the different maneuvers you can make. So you can go straight, you can kind of bank left, you can make a sharp left, and you do it secretly. So like I do mine and Gerald does his at the same time. We put them down face down, and then we flip them over at the same time. So you kind of have to play this game of like, where do I think you're going to go?
Yeah.
There's like some like spatial mapping you have to do in your head to be able to, because you're not going to put it down when your guys on the other side of the table is watching what you're doing. So you're kind of like, okay, I think this is moving. And if you're not familiar with it, like you put yourself in horrible places.
Yeah, you'll like drive right off the map or whatever. Yeah.
It's horrible.
But it's an excellent game. It's relatively affordable. We'll talk about, actually, there's a little teaser. We might be giving some of these away. Oh, so definitely check out Star Wars X-Wing miniatures. They actually just came out with
not the MS-DOS video game.
That one's a good one too. Check that out. But that's a little old. But these are excellent. Definitely check this out. It's very popular already. It's one of the most popular just because it's Star Wars. But
of course,
that's definitely
it's
a recommendation.
very similar to HeroClix.
Yeah.
There's a couple other dynamics to it, but it's very similar to HeroClix.
What's cool? It's one of those games. I think it's easy to play, difficult to master, right? Because they have like huge tournaments and stuff. Because you could put like asteroids out on the field, and if you run into the asteroid, like your spatial thing, you lose some health or whatever.
Damage, yeah.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Do they talk about in the canon what propels these things? Like, it's got to be some kind of like explosive material.
I don't know.
Because whenever they get shot,
it's TIE fighter. It's twin ion engine. That's what TIE stands for.
Okay, so
Details,
when you
guys.
shoot ions, do they explode? Because that's what happens when these blow up. It's just like these huge explosions. Like it's a lot of like a huge gas tank that's getting shot somewhere.
Well, ion is electricity, so no. But I mean, that would make the movie a lot less exciting.
They should
if it
just get
shot,
holes
broke
and they
apart
should just
float
kind of
around.
fly away. Yeah.
No explosions. We can't have explosions in space, right? In the vacuum of space.
That's what I'm saying. It wouldn't really make sense.
so they blew up the Death Star, just kind of broke apart. No explosions.
Yeah. That's where the
boring.
practical effects kind of falls apart. It's
Yeah.
like, this is impractical by just knowing what space is.
So negative.
Sorry.
The other thing we wanted to talk about, moving away from, because we talked about a couple games, You read the comics, right? The Star Wars comics, the new ones.
Yeah, well, I talked about that a lot.
Yeah, I didn't get to talk about a couple games.
Oh, okay. You want to talk about some games?
Just real quick. I don't have much to say about it because I played them when I was like 7 or 8. But we had a cool tabletop Sarlacc pit game.
Oh, I saw that picture.
Yeah, so it was awesome. There was actually like a cardboard cutout of a Sarlacc pit, and you were on like a ship, and Jabba was at the front with Boba Fett next to him.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
And then a bunch of these like little boar guys, and you just started at the edge, and you had to fight all the boar guys all the way to the front, and then fight Boba Fett, and then kill Jabba the Hutt without falling off into the Sarlacc pit.
Oh, that's cool.
There was no way I played by the rules as a kid. Zero chance I played by the rules. I think I just walked around and hit the boars off because I read the directions recently and I was like, those are intense. There's no way. I was 7 and like understanding what that meant at all.
That's awesome.
But
Didn't you
it was
say
a
when
lot
you
of
played
fun.
Risk, you were like, you didn't play with the cards, right?
Yeah, we just apparently made up our own rules
Hey,
for
man,
like all
everybody
kinds
does
of
that,
games.
right?
I don't know. And then there was an Ewok adventure game.
Nice.
Yes, my aunt had that game, so we go over there. Of course, she was always missing pieces, so I don't know the real rules on that one either. But I know that you like went up and you got like gliders, and you'd glide from one part of the forest to the other. It was just
As Ewoks?
a board game. You were all Ewoks,
Nice.
different color Ewoks. Oh, and that brings me to the Ewok movies. We didn't even talk about those. Did you guys
Are they
watch
technically
those?
part of the trilogy?
No,
They're not
but
canon. So
Oh,
who cares?
who cares?
I decide they're canon.
Okay.
I'm buying it, and I'm going to make Ewok movies canon. I like those movies. They were fun.
Well, the Christmas special
Well,
was
the
also
first
really
one.
popular too. Well, it wasn't. I should
Well,
say.
it's popular for being terrible.
Yeah, it's
been
really
a long
bad.
time since I've seen it. I think it's on. You could probably find it on YouTube, but yeah, it was bad. It had all the stars, right?
Yeah, it had everybody in it. It felt like a.
I've never actually even heard of this. The Christmas.
Oh yeah, there was a Christmas special Star Wars.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I'll have to
iconic
watch
for
it.
being terrible.
I'm going to have to check it out.
Having
Yeah,
like
it's
Mark
like
Hamill and everyone
Yeah.
in character.
I'll show it to you after the show. I'll put some clips of it in the I'll put like
Yeah,
the
it's
worst
bad.
clips, but it's pretty bad. But it's enjoyable to watch because it's like snakes on a plane type of bad. It's like
Yeah,
you got to
yeah.
watch it because it's fun.
It is kind of fun thing about Star Wars because like there were little pieces throughout like my whole life where there was something I did that was like super Star Wars because like as a young kid, saw like Pit. Then I got a little bit older. We had like a Star Destroyer 3D puzzle, like those
like a model,
styrofoam
yeah.
puzzles
Nice, yeah,
that you
yeah.
put together, and it becomes like a model at the
Yeah, yeah.
end. And that was cool. I think I was like 11. Then when I was like 13 with Star Wars Monopoly, we had that and we played the crap out of Star Wars Monopoly. Like that was all
Star
we
Wars Monopoly
played
too, yeah.
for a super long time. Then it was like 64 came out and there's Shadows of the Empire game, just incredible Star Wars game. First Battle Hoth I played, where
Yeah.
you could actually do the tie cable and wrap it around
Mhm.
the
Yep, yep.
AT-AT's legs. I loved that game. I think that was like, it was like Mario 64, Wave Race, and then Shadows of the Empire. That was like my only 3 games when that N64 first came out. I think it might have been the only 3 games you could get. So it's just, it is truly iconic and been through our, since we were born in we were born in 85. You said it
86.
came out in 83. So
Yeah.
it literally has our entire life of the popularity of this trilogy. And then we got a little bit older and then the newer ones came out.
That's
so,
what's so exciting about Episode 7. If it is as good as it looks, which I'm hoping it is, a whole new generation. Like a whole new generation will have this experience because we had the experience of seeing older movies and then getting to see newer movies, and now the prequels are unfortunately us being older. They're the older movies, right? And then the super older movies.
Right.
And then you have the new movie. It's really cool that keeps happening. I'm hoping, like you said, Disney's never going to stop making Star Wars movies.
No.
They're going to get up to like episode 40. It's going to be like
It's a
now.
money printer. Are you kidding me?
Luke's the great grandfather.
It's like now there's music or whatever that CD collection.
Oh
that they
yeah,
have to, like,
now 77.
yeah, they're just going to make episode 77. Actually, speaking of Shadows of the Empire, I'm hoping, they're making the in-between movies. Like they already talked about, they're making Rogue One and a Han Solo movie. I hope they actually just say, because Shadows of the Empire is an excellent story. Like I remember playing, I didn't own an N64, but I had a friend that owned it and we played it. And I remember like, this is like an intricate like story.
Yeah, and you went after Boba Fett. Boba Fett.
Prince's name, the bad guy, and that.
Well, it's Dash Rendar is the good guy.
Yeah.
Who's the bad guy?
I don't remember.
Prince something.
But anyways, I just remember there being an excellent story involved in that N64 game, so it wouldn't be that hard to create that character and put him into that universe. Now, I get that they don't want to really... Actually, I don't think they have a problem now. It seems like with the in-between movies, because they're canon, right?
Yep.
They don't have a problem with going in and kind of fiddling
They'll
with
eventually run out of characters, and they'll be like, "Who's that Dash guy?"
Yeah.
And they
Let's do
said
it.
like they may grab stuff from it's now called Legacy, but the extended universe they may grab stuff from there.
I'm hoping they grab from that because it's so good.
Yeah.
And he was a cool character. He was kind of like, he's like Han Solo a little bit. He's like the, you
His
know,
ship kind of looked like the Falcon.
yeah, it's like the 2400 YT 2400
Yeah, something
42. I don't know the name, but it was cool. It was like had like upside. You could shoot both ways. You could turn it upside down. It's so cool. As a kid, you're just like, you're upside down. Ah, it's so cool.
Dude, my games like Rogue Squadron, Rogue Squadron 2, and Rogue Leader. Oh, all three of those games
Yeah.
are so good. In fact, you can play all the space battles from the movies in any vehicle. On the bad side, you can be bad guys too. You can fly around TIE Fighter and all that kind of stuff. Oh.
They had the Naboo fighter in that one, didn't it?
Yeah, with codes and stuff. On the Rogue Leader, you can have the Naboo
That was
fighter.
cool. Because that fighter was cool. That yellow fighter.
Yeah.
That was a sick looking.
But flying like the Falcon and using the guns and stuff. Oh.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing about the games is, and I think the Battle of Hoth. If you get to, we'll play it with you, Jordan. The Battle of Hoth, you get to do the tow cable again. You get
that's
so
sweet.
it's so cool. And then this is the thing; they just keep redoing that same level, and it doesn't matter
All
because
you need
it's
to
so
do.
awesome.
It is so awesome.
All right, anything else you guys want to add before we wrap up the show, the Star Wars episode? Well, I'm going to get to some housekeeping stuff, but what do you guys want to add? Anything else?
Let the force be with you.
Nice.
Oh, can't wait for Force Awakens, man.
We already bought our tickets. We're going Saturday
8 a.m.
Yeah, wake up to go see Star Wars.
Yeah, that's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, we even got tickets to like a theater where there are assigned seats, so we don't even have to show up early.
Yeah,
Which
we
is
can
good,
10 minutes before, we're right in the middle, in the back of the theater a little bit. We're perfect viewing. It's going to be...
And then just let people know, what we're going to end up doing is we're immediately going to leave there, and then we're going to film a podcast, but we're going to hold it. We're going to hold it because it's going to be spoiler. We'll wait maybe a week or so to put it out because we don't want to wait that long.
Yeah, we assume most of our fans who listen and view us are going to go see it
You should.
the first or second weekend, so we'll release it probably that second weekend, so we'll talk about spoiler stuff. Not just hold on to us until you get to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll tell you at the beginning. Spoiler cast.
Yeah, we'll put a bunch of
Don't
spoilers up
listen
on the
if you
thing.
don't want to hear it.
All right. So the one thing I wanted to talk about with our contest, since we were doing, or not contest, I always want to call it a contest. Giveaway. You don't have to do something. Just have to
You have to
away.
do something.
You have to do something.
It's
Okay.
a contest,
Yeah,
and everybody that is going to do something isn't going to get it something.
Okay.
How are
That's
you?
true.
So it would be a contest.
Well, see, when I think of contest, I think like a battle, but it's not a battle.
Fight for the toys.
Anyways, here's the first thing that we're going to be giving away. Gerald is going to give one of his...
Yeah, so I have the first issue of the new Star Wars comic, but it's the first printing of it. It got it release day, so I have two of them, so I'm going to give one of those away.
He's going to give one of his away.
I
Jordan...
wouldn't do it.
First printing. I mean, it's maybe worth something someday. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. And it's going to be a combined... We're going to give a copy of Star Wars X-Wing miniatures game.
Ones we just talked about, yep.
Yeah, the core set, so you can take this and you can play, and then of course you can spend lots of more money on buying all the other expansions. But definitely this is a full copy of the game. You can play against your friends, you can play against and call them Rebel Scum. Excellent game. So we'll give one of these away as well as that, and then we'll have more prizes throughout the week.
Yeah, I'll think of something I can bring to the table. I haven't thought of anything yet.
And like I said, if you're out there and you want to help participate and be one of the people to give something away, you can certainly do that. Just get in touch with us. You can always email us at
sitdownstandard@gmail.com.
Jordan.
Sit down standard at Facebook.
No,
You said Facebook
Can't say
last
no.
time.
you got to change it up, man. I was hoping.
Hotmail.
Juno.com.
No, you can go on Facebook and find us. You can go on Instagram and find us at Sit Down Standard or on Twitter. But if you want to help give stuff away, just get in touch with us. We'll like I said, we'll give you a big props on the show, and then of course always doing a giveaway where people are giving stuff to Toys for Tots or Salvation Army at this time of the year is awesome. So we definitely want to encourage that. And in that vein, we want to give one more shout out to our sponsor, 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten. Check out all their great stuff on 1000booksbeforekindergarten.org. Again, they have reading logs, and you can read all of the novelizations of Star Wars or something a little bit more similar, or easier, I should say, like Cat in the Hat or Green Eggs and Ham. And you can read the same book over and over. I don't know if we ever stress that enough.
Yes.
You can read the
It's
same
just
book.
the words. That's what's important, the words.
Yeah.
You almost have to, because if you have 1,000, you just have to hang out at the library every day.
Hey,
I don't know.
do that. Go to the library. Did you know you can rent games at a library?
No, I know you can remember.
God, they're trying to get anybody to walk in those doors, huh, except homeless people.
All right. Well, on that note, thank you for viewing as well as listening. Bye.
See ya.
later.